Welcome to Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda. Today we're starting something entirely new. Between now and Christmas Day, we are going to be looking at some of the great Christmas carols and looking at the wonderful biblical truths that are contained within them. And today we're starting to look at Hark the Herald Angels Sing. You know the words, hark the herald angels sing. Glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth and mercy mild. God and sinners reconciled. Joyful all ye nations rise. Join the triumph of the skies. And with the angelic hosts proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem. You know, those words were penned by Charles Wesley. He of course was the brother of John Wesley, the great revivalist that led so many people to Christ in the 18th century. But if we had sung those words the way that Charles Wesley originally penned them, then I doubt any of us would still sing that carol today. Because in his version it began, hark how all the welkin rings. W-E-L-K-I-N. And that was an old English word for the heavens, the skies. You find it in the Canterbury Tales. You find it in the works of William Shakespeare. But it's not a word we would use today, and I don't think we would really want to be singing that every December. But it was another revivalist, George Whitefield. And George Whitefield took these words of Charles Wesley and just got rid of the old-fashioned language a bit and updated them and really made it more meaningful for us. You see, when Charles Wesley was talking about the heavens ringing, well, he probably had in mind that verse at the beginning of Psalm 19, the heavens declare the glory of God and the skies proclaim the works of his hands. But George Whitefield took us beyond what we call general revelation, the fact that the very creation itself tells forth the glory of God, and brought us into what we call special revelation. The fact that God not only speaks to us through his creation, but speaks to us personally through prophets, through angels, and of course, through his word. And so George Whitefield moved on from what the skies declare about the glory of God to what the angels sang about the glory of God. And the song says, peace on earth and mercy mild. At that time, they were waiting for a Messiah to come. There was a lot of expectation in Israel that a Messiah would come. But they were expecting Messiah as a military figure, a figure of judgment, a figure of wrath. There was going to be a lot of bloodshed involved in his coming. But whenever Jesus came, he came not in wrath, but in mercy. Peace on earth and mercy mild. Now, we tend to think of what the angels sang, about peace on earth, goodwill to all men. But for there to be peace among men, peace has to start between us and God. And that's why the carol goes on to say, God and sinners reconciled. That there was a great gulf that stood between us and God. A gulf of holiness and a gulf of sin, a gulf of separation. We needed somebody who could bridge that gulf. We needed somebody who could have one foot on the God side and one foot on the man side. We needed somebody who would be both human and divine. Apparently impossible, but Jesus came as the incarnate Son of God, 100% human and 100% divine. And he bridged the gap and he reconciled us to God. Because we have peace with God, we can now create peace with one another as well. And really the fact that George Whitefield took these words of Charles Wesley is in itself a significant act of peace. Because even though Wesley and Whitefield were the two great evangelists of their day, They disagreed and came into conflict over several issues. They came into conflict about politics over the issue of slavery. And they also were in conflict about the part that God's sovereignty and man's free will play in our salvation. And yet George Whitefield was able to take Charles Wesley's words and use them to promote peace. And I would pray that this Christmas we will look beyond the differences that we have with one another, and we would celebrate the peace that we have because we are reconciled to God. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Join us again tomorrow for another Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda.